Hey everyone. Please support what I do to help keep Greyhawk alive by subscribing to the channel. Also, please consider becoming a channel member to get early access to videos, exclusive live chats, quarterly adventure modules, and more. Thanks, and enjoy the show. Well, the new Greyhawk map from the forthcoming 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide has been released. I want to talk about it today on Greyhawk Grognard. So what you're looking at is the new map of the Flâness that will be appearing in the new 5e Dungeon Master's Guide. This was first shown online on wargames.com, I believe, and over on N-World, they came up with a better version, which is up there on the screen now. Aesthetically, it looks fine. It's colorful. It's sort of evocative of the Darlene map, although it looks like it's going to be a little smaller in print, based judging on the size of the fonts and things that I'm seeing. But it's still, aesthetically, it looks fine. There are some changes that have been made, and the changes are what the bulk of what I want to talk about. In a couple of places, they're purely aesthetic. They don't really mean anything. In a couple places, they mean a whole lot. And without the text, obviously, it's impossible to know, but it's fun to speculate as to what these changes mean. And it's also fun to speculate as to what time period this is going to be set in based on what we see here. So let me go through some of this stuff and share some of my thoughts on this. Up in the we'll start left to right, starting in the upper left-hand corner. We have something called the Sultanate of Zeith and the Sultanate of Ekbir. In the original, that's a, uh, a caliphate, not the Caliphate of Ekbir, not a sultanate, and it matters a lot because the title Caliph, at least in real world Islam, it signals that you have overlordship over all other political entities. So you're like the overking essentially. So by changing it from Caliph to Sultanate, they're making a material change in the lore of the world. Because they by changing that title, you're changing the level at which the leader of Ekbir is exists in relation to the other Baklunish realms. So right there, we have a very important material change that could have impacts on the setting as a whole. And something else I see, they've changed the plains of the Paynims to the plains of the Ulakandar. I don't know if that's actually a name that was in the lore. It doesn't ring a bell. But quite obviously, they changed Paynims because some people might not like the fact that is actually related to the word pagan. And that's how the Christian Crusaders described the people in the East, which is from their perspective technically true, I guess. But anyway, change made, no explanation. I got a possible one, but again, speculation, pure speculation. I hold out conclusions until we see the actual text. We've got Chakyik and Wegweir in the upper left corner there. They're the tiger nomads and the wolf nomads. That's not a big deal. They were already called that, going all the way back to the to the folio in 1980. So that's nothing. They've renamed Blackmore to Arn, probably a nod to Dave Arneson, who created Blackmore. I'm not really sure why they would do that, unless it was for um, uh, trademark or copyright purposes. They don't want to create confusion between their Greyhawk and another setting, which happens to have a land in it called Blackmore. I can understand that if that's the case. Arn is, if you got to call it something, making a little nod to Dave Arneson is in the worst idea you could do. Continuing along the top there, though, we see the hunting lands. Um, and this is a weird one because this is in the original maps. This is called the Rovers of the Barrens. I did a whole video about them. They're nomads. They have the dog as their totem, and the Rovers of the Barrens. It's kind of a pun because rovers and dog. You get it. Um, and in the setting itself, they have gone up and down in their fortunes. So depending on whether or not does the hunting lands mean that's the place where the Rovers of the Barrens live, and it's just called something different, and they're called something different because rovers and nomads is no longer an acceptable term. I don't know. I have no idea. But if it means that it is no longer the land inhabited by the Rovers of the Barrens, it could mean that this is taking place after their destruction at the. So this would place this in the 590 region or even the 600 region in terms of the timeline. So that could be an important thing, but there's no way to tell, obviously, until we hear a lot more. Looking around, going around the top. Now I'm in the upper right hand corner. They've changed the kingdom names again. We've got the North Kingdom of the Kruski, the North Kingdom of the Schnai, the North Kingdom of the Frusti. Okay, fine. Those names they stuck the word North in front just in case you couldn't tell. But the names Kruski, Schnei, and Frusti also go back to the folio. So that's fine. No problem there. It's the Spindrift Isles. Now I'm on the lower right here. Spindrift Isles used to be called the Lendor Isles, but that changed with the From the Ashes box set. So that's a change that goes back to like 1985, 86. So for an old timer like me, it's still jarring to see the name changed, but it's not like it's something brand new that they're doing. Something brand new that they are doing, however, is to call the Scarlet Brotherhood Shar. I'm now down in the lower right hand corner. And I can't help but, and this is a name that goes back to the Scarlet Brotherhood um, uh, book. They did a whole source book on the Scarlet Brotherhood, and they said that the Scarlet Brotherhood, kind of to present an image to the outside world, they called themselves the Kingdom of Shar, which in the Sului's language means purity. Um, and it really wasn't a kingdom, and it really wasn't called Shar. It was really the Scarlet Brotherhood, but they used Shar as a front. So I don't know if they're maintaining that lore in here. If this is set in 576, which is the first time period when Gold Box and Folio were all published, it could mean that they're using that as their outward face. Which, okay, that makes sense. But if they're doing it afterwards in the 590 to 600 timeline, then it makes a lot less sense because the Scarlet Brotherhood has come out of the shadows. They have declared themselves openly. So maintaining that fiction of being the Kingdom of Shar doesn't make a lot of sense. So that could go either way. It would make sense in 576. It would not make nearly as much sense in 590. But again, without the text, it's impossible to know. One thing I did forget: the Sea Barons are now called the Sea Baronies. Okay, that's fine. Um, and just looking around, I don't see too many other major things. I'm still reeling from the caliphate being renamed. I'm sure that has something to do with not wanting to get political or religious or offend people. Otherwise, there's really no reason to take that out of the lore. Um, just again, it's neat. I'm sure I'm missing a few changes hither and yon. One thing that could be of an interest to those of us who are trying to figure out what timeline this comes in, we see the Shield Lands, we see the Horned Society, and we see the Bandit Kingdoms. Um, all of those ceased to exist during the Greyhawk Wars. They were all conquered by Ayus. So to see them here named, and even after the Greyhawk Wars, in the From the Ashes box set, they were named the Horned Lands, and there was this big empire of Ayus spanning the north in there. So that could be another signal that they're going to be resetting the timeline to 576, um, or it could just be that they don't know that difference, and this is a mistake. Um, but so based on what I'm seeing, it looks like we might be seeing a 576 reboot. This might herald the start of a new timeline. Which might be called the WotC timeline, where it runs parallel to the old timeline that TSR had started and carried forward into the Wizards of the Coast era. In the same way that there's a separate Kelvin timeline in Star Trek to go with the new movies that were the new timeline was created by time travel, and yeah. But this could be, if they are doing that kind of reboot, this would almost certainly be its own timeline and its own continuity. So that will be an interesting division amongst the fandom. I wonder which side I'll come down on. It's an interesting question. Um, like I say, I uh, I am not going to condemn this. I am going to keep an open mind because I haven't read it yet, and I'm not going to jump to conclusions. This video is all about speculations based on what I'm seeing. But aesthetically, I like it. I don't mind a lot of the changes. Some of the changes really need an explanation for me. Um, and we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But here it is. I will include a link down below if you want to snag your copy. And hope you're all having a wonderful day. And I will see you all later.
Thanks for watching today's video. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Below you'll find links to my Patreon, which helps make these videos possible. You'll also find the web store where you can buy my books, and my blog where you'll find all sorts of free downloads and other articles. Thanks, and have a great day.